I'm so nervous, but the great hobo, Lord, please come substitute for me. I'm a kindergarten teacher and I need someone to come take over for a personal day. Oh my gosh, that was great. I just want to say, even in my time, because I was not prepared at all to do this, and I'm so emotional because you're all just so courageous, just sharing your stories, and I'm just so grateful for this space. It brought to mind a lot of different trials everybody's gone through, and when we listen to everybody's stories, it's very special to connect like that. I lost my father when I was 21, and I thought that being able to weather that would make me extremely courageous, and I thought that was kind of like my definition of courage. And then when I was about 24, I bought my first house, and I remember kind of feeling woe is me, I'm the youngest of 10 kids, and I don't have my dad for my house, He's not gonna check the pipes. He checked everybody else's pipes, and he's not gonna look at the roof and tell me in 2 years, you're gonna need to replace that. So I felt real kind of pitiful, and then I had my first child, and I kind of went through the same thing again. He was there for everybody else's baby, and he saw everybody else pregnant and was with his grandchildren. So I felt kind of gypped and real woe is me. So anyway, I moved into my first house, and I meet my neighbor, Edith Zentz. She was 84. And she had her hair, pinned up in the little teeny curlers, super white, little tight hair, and she was like a crazy bitch. She was just like a firebird. It was like my dad reincarnated. And Edith, welcomed me into her home, and she was so sweet and made me muffins, and I go over there, and we'd learn how to pickle together and can, and she taught me how to quilt, and taught me how to, raise my kids. And she also kind of each time we met would kind of unfold another part of her life. And the first part she unfolded, was that she left an abusive husband in the middle of the night with 5 children during, a depression time, and not a lot of money, not a lot of food, definitely not a time when women left men at all. And she described to me, planning it. She taught me about you don't just happen into an abusive situation. You stuff things through and you stay in it, and then one day you realize you've kind of normalized it, and then you decide to just have that vulnerability and courage to say I'm not stuffing this anymore. And she really she just told me her story, and so many other things that happened in her life after the leave. But really, it really taught me that to be courageous, it comes in all these different levels. It could come through being courageous through loss, but it really comes through just being vulnerable and taking risks. And I was watching this TED Talks with Brene Brown. I don't know if you've seen her, but I love her. And I watched something a couple weeks ago, and she said, true courage is when you take risks. And people who take risks, they're more courageous in general. You have to take risks. You have to be vulnerable. But you also have the result of having more joy and more opportunities for joy. So I remembered when I go back in my house and I think of Edith, I thought about the cabinets and how they had been painted 10 layers of white, it would chip and eventually you get to mint green, but it was the 9th layer down. And in the winter it would, it would slam shut, and in the summer it would just swell up with heat, and you'd have to almost put your foot against the cabinet and just pry it open. And, sometimes my cabinets would be, really full, and it was a time of prosper in my life. And then there were other times when it was really empty. And she always reminded me of the cabinets, after she told me the story of leaving. in the night, and she told me she opened this cabinet and she was taking like any food that they had and packing it and taking all these kids in the night. And I just thought to myself, when I'd open my cabinet at my house, it changed the way I was for the rest of my life when I open a cabinet, and how much courage one can take. And just to recognize that like sometimes cabinets are going to open easy and there's going to be a lot in there, and sometimes they're going to be really hard to open, but you should open them and you should not stuff anything. So, thank you.